A little over 3 years ago, Jamel Maurice Demons, more known as YNW Melly, turned himself in for the murder of 2 friends that took place in late 2018. From showing off new shoes, releasing new music, and even saying he's coming home soon, YNW Melly has made these past few years look like a cakewalk. But in these same years, he has also endured some of his hardest times behind bars, including fights, behavior issues, and even facing the death penalty. So today, we're going to take a look at YNW Melly's life behind bars. But before we jump straight into it, let me provide you with a brief rundown on how he even got here. YNW Sakchaser and YNW Juvy were shot and killed while riding home through the streets of Fort Lauderdale with their 2 friends, YNW Melly and YNW Bortlen. Melly was dropped off on the way while Bortlen proceeded to drive the 2 wounded men to the hospital. And if you don't already know, whenever you arrive to the hospital with gunshot wounds, the police will always be immediately notified. So shortly after the 3 arrived at the hospital, the police pulled up and started asking questions. Bortlen tried his best to explain the situation, saying that they were involved in a drive-by shooting, but the police knew something was up because after asking multiple witnesses, everyone's story was slightly different. After the police put in months of investigation, they were finally able to draw up a possible scenario, saying that the 2 men were shot from inside the car, linking the murders to Melly and Bortlen, and dismissing the entire drive-by story. Bortlen was arrested first on February 12, 2019, and Melly already saw it coming, so he just went on ahead and turned himself in the very next day. The beloved Florida artist posted a picture on Instagram stating in the caption that he is to be turning himself in and all of the rumors that he is guilty are false. Melly was clearly trying to make the best of his time while he was locked away because the rapper was reportedly spending $4,000 a month on commissary, buying snacks, playing cards, headphones, books, and many more miscellaneous items like reading glasses, ibuprofen, and I miss you cards to send to his family back home. My boy Melly was going crazy in the chain gang. And despite most of the other inmates in jail having a low commissary average, Melly seems to max out his spending limit every week. Melly was even seen on Instagram smiling and holding up a pair of $1,000 Versace shoes. Melly has also dropped some hit tracks while locked up, like Mama Cry, Dangerously in Love, and many more, including features from Lil Uzi Vert, Kodak Black, and an artist that we all miss dearly, Juice WRLD. He even dropped an entire album titled Melly vs. Melvin that peaked at number 8 on the Billboard charts. But while living the lavish lifestyle in jail, he was also in there giving the officers a hard time. Melly's first behavioral incident took place only a month after he was incarcerated. On March 13th, 2019, Melly made a 3-way call, which is against the rules of jail, landing him in solitary confinement for 30 days with no privileges. 2 months later, Melly was charged with disrespecting and threatening an officer. This earned him another 20 days of solitary confinement and loss of all of his privileges. Melly was in there acting like a pure demon because in September of the same year, Melly was caught stuffing a towel into the toilet of his cell and flushing it until the cell was completely flooded. What kind of elementary school prank was he trying to pull? Once the officer who caught him reported the situation, he also claimed that Melly did this on purpose and even threatened him. Melly allegedly said to the officer, "Yeah, I flooded it. Now go get your sergeant. I'll beat all y'all. And I have real lawyers to get me out of it." That's some pure menace energy right there. Shortly after this, he was set to serve yet another 20 days in solitary, lost all his privileges once again, and on top of that, they threw in a 10-day probation sentence with it. At this point, I'm starting to think that he enjoys being alone in solitary confinement because he just keeps going back. Then, in February 2020, Melly was seen participating in a fight with 5 other inmates. This large brawl took several deputies to break it up. This altercation led him to getting sentenced to another 30 days in solitary. And as you can guess by now, his privileges taken away yet again. In his first year of jail, Melly has already spent a total of 70 days in solitary confinement. That's insane. But those are just a few of his behavioral issues. Melly has also faced some problems regarding his health. On April 2nd, 2020, Melly tested positive for the virus after his cellmate was also tested positive. Melly's lawyer saw this as an opportunity to temporarily get the rapper out of jail and put him on house arrest. On the same day, Melly's lawyer requested for the artist to be put on house arrest in case he needed any medical help involving the virus. This seemed like a foolproof plan because 6ix9ine was released earlier that year for the same reason. His attorney even posted an update on Instagram stating that the Broward jail was very unsanitary and had inmates and employees sharing lunch trays and other items without proper sanitation. Sources also stated that Melly was experiencing headaches, body aches, chills, and even labored breathing. But Melly got the short end of the stick. His request was denied, and the judge pretty much told him all the medical help you need is available right here. But since the virus was still fairly new to the world, the jails weren't properly equipped to treat the rapper. It was even rumored that the jail only provided Melly with Gatorade and Tylenol. That won't even fix a bad migraine. The staff is also accused of not checking up on Melly hourly like they were instructed to, leaving everyone to worry about his health as it was rapidly deteriorating. That's just poor service all around if you ask me. And it only gets crazier from here because Melly has also had many bumps throughout his time fighting these legal battles. When the initial information was gathered on the case, it was pretty clear that Melly wasn't innocent. The feds used every resource they could to find and try to get this artist locked up. They even worked with T-Mobile to get all of his phone records showing where the men traveled that night. This information showed that Melly was confirmed to be in the car with the victims and got dropped off before they took the trip to the hospital. It wasn't looking too good for the Florida rapper because he initially lied and said that he was never even in the car. The feds also took a deep look into Melly's social media, linking one of his posts of him saying how he needs to stay loyal to Bortlen to the murder. This made sense because they previously accused Bortlen of working with Melly and covering the entire situation up. It's crazy how these smartphones can get you caught up so easily. A year after his arrest, the prosecutors sat back and took a really good look at this case. And since it was such a heinous crime, they gave Melly two options. He could go to trial and possibly receive the death penalty, or he could skip trial and just get an instant 30 to 40 years in prison. They even tried making the case stronger by saying he's a gang member by using his face tattoos and videos of him stacking hand symbols as proof. The families of the two victims are more interested in pushing the death penalty, which I can completely understand. This left Melly in a sticky situation, but he didn't fold. I believe the rapper has a really good feeling that he will get off as innocent. And even though the feds had all those scenarios drawn up linking Melly to the murder, they still lacked enough evidence to convict him. So they laid low for a while, continuing to hold Melly without bond while they gathered more information and drew up more possible scenarios. It was until February of this year, 2 years later, when the feds came out with 66, yes, you heard that right, 66 pages of DNA evidence a month before the trial was set to begin. I'm not gonna lie, 66 pages is crazy. Melly might be toast in this one. And as DJ Academics called it, the trial was postponed due to the last-minute evidence drop.
All I'm saying is that they're providing this less than a month out before trial. Look for this case to be postponed, if you ask me.
Melly's trial was pushed back to May 23rd, giving Melly some more time to get the DNA evidence analyzed and build up some more defense before his sentencing. The prosecutors then provided Melly with a list of all witnesses they had against him, including his ex-girlfriend and her mom. But he wasn't too cool with that. Melly immediately filed a motion to prevent these two from even showing up because he feels like they would sabotage him and his career. But the feds weren't done yet. The prosecutors summoned popular cameraman DrewFilmedIt to the stand. DrewFilmedIt is a well-known cameraman that has shot many music videos for Florida artists like Glock 9, Hot Boy, and even Louisiana artist Fredo Bang. They're most likely wanting to go through his SD card or his hard drive to find any video or audio footage or any conversations that could possibly lead to more information on this case. This is the same way they got YoungBoy. The cameraman's footage was used against him in court, but Drew kept it street and never showed up at all to testify against Melly. He's a real one for that. However, the prosecutors are now trying to threaten Drew with jail time if he doesn't show up. So he lawyered up and is trying to get them to further prove why they need him in court and what he has to do with this case. Right now, it seems like it's Melly against the world because these prosecutors are coming hard with the evidence and they're really trying to turn everyone that was cool with Melly against him. Let's just hope the beloved Florida artist comes out as innocent and we can continue to get great music from him. And check out this video for me. I know you'll enjoy it.